So now that you've had a chance to hear about the program from me, I'm so happy for you to hear from two students who actually went to New York on this program. While I ask them questions, I'll be sharing some photos that they took while on the program.
Well, I'd like to say that my favorite part would be definitely meeting with all the recruiters. I thought that was like the most beneficial for me too. I am a very sociable person, so I do like to kind of get around and get to know different companies and stuff and talk with other people and get to know a little more about their company and themselves and how they got the position they're in like today. So that was like really, really enjoyable for me. Also, I would say that like going to the Broadway play was not my kind of thing to do at first. Like when I heard that we're gonna go to one, I was like, oh, I don't know if I really am into this. But when I went, oh my gosh, that was the best thing on earth. I would suggest for like anyone and everyone, if you go to New York, you need to go to one. We went to Mean Girls, so that was like the all-time best thing on earth. So yeah, I would say just the Broadway play and the meeting with all the different recruiters for sure were my big highlights.
I would say the best part of the experience was to have access to the senior leaders across the retail industry and to hear firsthand how they built their careers, including the best practices for success and learning opportunities. I came home from the NRF with multiple internship opportunities and connections, which will serve me well when I move to New York post-graduation. I spent the summer prior to senior year living in New York, actually. I worked in the heart of the city for Ross Dress for Less out in their corporate office and now have accepted a full-time offer as a planning analyst there.
So I always planned since freshman year that I would end up going to New York. I've never been to New York until this past January when I did go on the trip. But I remember going to a meeting about this New York trip as a freshman, and right away I was interested in it, and I told my parents, hey, like I want to go to New York my junior year. So we kind of like planned that out that I was going to go my junior year, but I ended up going my senior year because of financial reasons, which I'm sure you'll get into. But yeah, I just kind of always had in mind that I wanted to go to New York, not just for like a individual trip. Like I don't think I would go there on my own, just out of nowhere. I wanted to go like as a class. Like I wanted to get like a full like experience, hands-on, meeting with all these different companies and people. So just to kind of get my foot in the door a bit and then get recognized by other companies. So I thought that was in my mindset the whole time. So like I said, I knew for 3 years that I was going to go to New York as a group. So yeah, that's kind of how I found out, just going to different meetings and stuff.
So same as Carissa, as a freshman, I had heard about the New York trip from Dr. Cochran in the intro class, and it kind of had been reiterated across all of my classes. I attended the student program, though, however, the winter of 2019 in my junior year of college. I knew that this would be a once-in-a-lifetime learning opportunity and experience to explore New York and to build a network that I could leverage for internship opportunities and full-time employment after college. I felt like it was best to go on the trip my junior year, and I felt that I learned a lot, and I always knew as a freshman that I wanted to go to New York City on this trip. So yeah, in addition to attending all the conferences and networking, and just exploring the city, which included my first play when I went was My Fair Lady, and going to Central Park along with the company visits. A highlight for me was visiting the fashion district. It was great to see the first-hand like learning experience and learning all the history, especially from learning about it in the classroom at Stout. And for a retail major, I'd say that this was definitely a must-see for me.
No, that actually wasn't my first experience. I've always been into traveling. I've traveled since I was a little girl. So this was nothing new to me for traveling. It was very easy for me. I guess like the most difficult part though was how big of city I was actually going to. I think New York was like the biggest city that I've ever been to while traveling. So that was a little bit different, like a little bit of a shock for me. But other than that, like the traveling was fine. Very easy, very smooth. So no one has anything to worry about. But my advice to others would just be, just have an open mind, I guess. You got to have an open mind. If you're afraid of flying, don't be. I promise you that it is the best experience ever. I love flying anywhere and everywhere I can. So there's nothing to be scared about. Just have an open mind. You're going there for a good reason. So just have fun doing it.
I would say, I highly recommend taking advantage of opportunities to participate in these real life and hands-on learning experiences. I gained a lot of experience as I learned more about what different employment opportunities I had to offer going to New York, and a lot about myself too, as I shifted my desire to follow the buying path and to focus on planning instead after going to the student program. So I would just say take advantage and take the risk and go, because it really pays off in the end, and you really get to learn a lot about yourself and about the city of New York and the retail industry. Yeah, I would just encourage them to think about the outcomes and the values that are associated with the cost of the opportunities that they are considering. In this case, the value that came for me far outweighed the cost. I developed so many connections, both personal and professional, that positioned me to have more choices that I could have ever dreamt of for internships. And to me, there is no cost that can be associated with benefit, really. I would suggest to any incoming freshman in the program to start planning ahead and saving to attend their junior year. This was by far one of the highlights of my time at Stout.
So going along with Bella, yes, like this is a once in a lifetime type of deal. So you only have 4 years in college, or possibly a year more, whatever. But yeah, definitely take advantage of it. It will pay off in the long run for sure. I guess my personal experience being a freshman and seeing how much the trip would cost, it seemed like a lot to me. But then after kind of taking a couple years up and going through it, cracking it all down, I was like, wow, you know what? I could end up like working for one of these companies that I talked to. And honestly, yes, like what Bella said, that is what really matters. That's when the whole trip just pays off, because if you would have never went there, then who knows if you would have had that job or that offer, that interview. Even if you just had an interview and not a job offer, that is so beneficial for you. I know I had one, just a brief one with Nordstrom's, and that made me so happy for me to just be able to talk to them. And though I may not have gotten a job offer, it was just like the best experience ever. And that made me so happy that all that money went towards something like that and went towards the NRF Foundation. But yeah, it's just a lifetime experience that you'll never get another chance to do while you're in college.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you both so much for joining us. And also, I'm excited to be able to share this video with everyone and other students at UW-Stout. And I invite all other students who are interested in this program to learn more and apply at UW-Stout/study abroad. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.